Most guys think that you need the perfect line in order to get the girl, but that's just wrong. I said something completely random and she said yes. So forget the pickup lines, forget the basic advice, forget all the scripts. I tried something that shouldn't have worked and it completely flipped the whole situation. So in this video, I'll break down exactly what I said, why it worked, and how you can use it without faking confidence or playing games. Let's do it. Okay, so there was this girl named Melissa. That's not her actual name. I don't really remember her name, but that's the name we'll use. And we were in math class. We got assigned seats next to each other, and I thought she was pretty. And so at some point, at the end of the day, when everybody was kind of going to the buses or walking home or getting picked up, I saw her alone, walking or waiting for somebody. So I thought that's the best time to approach her, right? So I go up to her and I go, I'm nervous. So I go, hey, Melissa, right? And I'm like maybe looking down, I'm stuttering, and I say, I really like you. Could I get your number? So I asked for her number. And guess what she said? She said, yes. And I was so excited. I was so giddy. I got her number. I pull out my phone. I write it down, or she types it. And I am like, great, this is awesome. Let's go, right? So I go back to my friends in the bus, and I'm so excited. And I tell them, I'm like, dude, I got her number. They're like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah. So I'm the most excited dude. And I then look up as I'm in the bus when driving to go home. I'm like typing on Google, like, when should I text her after I got her number, right? Because there's probably a specific time I should wait. I shouldn't do it immediately. I don't want to do it too much later. So I ended up finding out based on what I saw on Google that is like you should do 24 hours. I'm like, great. So in 24 hours, I'm gonna text her because I don't want to look desperate, right? I don't want to look desperate. So I ended up waiting the 24 hours and I then text her and I said, hey. She goes, who is this? And I said, this is Bernardo from math class. She goes, I don't know who that is. And I went, oh, I didn't respond after that. And I was like, maybe she typed in the wrong number, So, um, yeah, I'll talk to her tomorrow during class. So math class, I think it was my first class of the day. I show up, I go sit next to her because that's my seat, and I say, "Hey, Melissa, um, I texted your number and I got a response saying, 'Who's this?'" She said, "Yeah, because I put in the wrong number." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I kind of just turned around and basically for the whole day and probably weeks, I just kind of stare at that side of the room because I'm too scared now to look at her because I feel like I got rejected. That's the worst thing, by the way, you could do. Like, if you're gonna reject me, just say no. Why give me the wrong number on purpose? Like, that's just messed up. Besides the point. So, the takeaway from that part of the story is that rejection isn't about you. Is that sometimes rejection just happens for reasons that have nothing to do with who you are, what you look like, what you wear, your haircut, right? Sometimes it's just literally out of your control, or sometimes you're not the type for that person, or sometimes you gave off the wrong impression, and that's okay. But it's not because you did something wrong. Um, and I think in the moment it's hard to realize that. And I think when you have never gotten a yes, or never went on a date, or never had a girlfriend like I did at that time, you start thinking it's you. I'm ugly. I don't have the right haircut. I'm too fat. I am. I wish I would look different, right? And you start playing those like I wish I was this, I wish I was that game. But just know that the rejection isn't about you, right? Um, just because you ask one girl out and she says no, it doesn't mean every single girl will say no as well. And that's kind of where the second story comes in, is that the unexpected move that worked is actually when I was in youth group and I was playing those big like hamster kind of balls where you go inside and then you kind of just run around as a kid and just start hitting people with I think there's like five people with balls and just hitting each other, and we're just having a blast. We're having fun. Like I wasn't a Christian at that time, but it was just a load of fun. I started taking it off, right? Because it's also hot in there, right? So I started taking it off because you have to pull it up, and I see this girl from my guitar class. And I was like, oh, it's her. And I'm like, wow, she's so pretty, right? So I put back the ball and I kind of like start playing around. And I start getting closer because there was like a little crowd just kind of watching everybody hit each other. And I try kind of get closer to that group where she's kind of standing there. And by the way, I've been a youth group at that time for like a year, probably a year or so. So I already knew everybody from the youth group. And so she stood out plainly because I was already part of like the group. And I take it off. I'm taking it off close to them. And I point at her and I go, "You're next." And I kind of just crack a joke. And she kind of laughs and she's like, haha, like rubbing her shoulder. She's a little shy. And at the time, I couldn't tell she was shy. Now, looking back, I remember that now, but I didn't remember it in the time. I didn't pay attention to that stuff. So I take it off and I'm kind of go back laughing, talking to my friends. And I sort of start walking towards her. And then I just started chatting, talking about stuff, talking about the food, because I think we had pizza right after that. And we kind of just chat about random stuff about that's happening in youth group, whether it be the food, the games, or if she's ever played with that. And and then everybody is sent upstairs to go to do worship. We just keep chatting as we're heading up the stairs, and I just sit there, and she sits kind of next to me, ish, but a little bit away, but not like far away, but more like we could talk, but just not on the exact same chair. There's no chairs. So basically, what ended up happening at the end of the day is I said, "Hey, have you joined the youth group chat?" And she said, "Oh no." And I said, "Oh, okay, let me get your number and I'll send you the link." All right? It wasn't pressure to say yes to go on a date. It wasn't the pressure of trying to be smooth talker or trying to be this, and that and be like, "Hey, so I really thought you were cute." And, I'm not trying to do any of that. It came smooth. Like, I've never done that at that time, right? It came out so smooth where I was like, "Hey, have you ever joined the group chat?" So it's a reason to get her number. That's not a date yet. Now, looking back with her, right, because that's my wife, right, is that she was super shy. So I think that if I had asked her for her number right there and then, maybe she would have said no, right? I don't know, looking back, maybe. But because it was no pressure, it was a, hey, like, I'm going to send you the group chat. That's how I'm getting your number. I'm not forcing for a date. I think the takeaway is that authenticity over perfection. That sometimes the best approach is one that's just natural, that's low pressure, that is not being so direct as like, let me get your number, or like, hey, would you like to go on a date? Because in that moment, like a lot of the times, there might be like moment of panic, moment of like, whoa, like fight or flee, right? And so the low pressure sense of getting her number, and then from there, kind of like, not taking forever before asking out on a date. You want to be pretty quick. You don't want to start making her think you want to just be friends. Uh, that's another topic for another time that I don't think guys and girls can be friends. And a lot of people disagree. It's okay. But I think the low pressure of getting her number to send her the group chat allowed me to then still talk to her afterwards, because I didn't know if I was going to get a chance to talk to her again. Even though she was in my guitar class, she was in the opposite side of the room. So and the door was on her side. So whenever people left, she would just like go walk, and then everybody's out, the bell rings, so everybody all of a sudden you don't know where she is, and I'm on the other side of the room. So it was always hard to even talk to her. I never got a chance to talk to her other than youth group. So I was like, oh, I don't know if she'll be back to youth group. So it was like a now or never situation. And I think being authentic, even though to an extent I had an intention, but it was still me trying to ask her out because I thought she was pretty and I wanted to get to know her on a date. So I just want to encourage you guys that authenticity often works better than any perfect line or rehearsed approach that you might think that will work. Because I sometimes doing it in the moment, whether you're at the gym, or maybe the gym is a little harder, or you are in PE or whatever, um, or now if you're, outside of high school, let's say you're at church, make it up in your head. Say, hey, I'm having breakfast with with a group of church friends. Do you want to come? It's going to be in a couple of days. Low pressure. Now that's if it's more of a shy girl. If you've seen her around and you know she might be more direct, and you know based on interactions, maybe you're just ask directly, right? So from getting a fake number to finding the love of my life, I learned that you just gotta take the shot. You gotta take the shot, take the chance, and ask her out. Because no matter whether you think you will get a yes or you'll get a no, you will never know unless you do it. I knew a friend from high school that had had a crush since he grew up, because he grew up in the same school, the same what do you call it? The same house, and he had a crush on this specific girl who also grew up in the same school, and they grew up together. He had a crush from decades, even though we were like 18, 17. He hadn't asked her out to that day. We were seniors. It was over. I even asked him, I was like, "You're going to ask her out?" He said no. So take the shot, because you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And so next time you think about asking somebody out, just do it. Don't think, oh, I have to wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. Because if it's not now, when will it be?